We have a pair of suspensions from last night's Edmonton-Vegas playoff game. We have Alex Pietrangelo and Darnell Nurse for both missed Game 5. We'll discuss the scenarios coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have matching suspensions that have come out of the playoff game last night between the Edmonton Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights in Game 4 of their Round 2 series, which is going to see them both missing a key defenseman for Game 5 coming up here as the series shifts back to Vegas. So obviously, the Edmonton Oilers won the game last night, tied the series up 2 games apiece. The Vegas Golden Knights were trailing, and I knew the game was out of reach. And late in the game, in the final minutes, things kind of get out of hand and get a little crazy, a little chaotic. With the case of Alex Pietrangelo, he after Leon Draisaitl took a shot at the empty net and missed, puck's long gone into the corner. Pietrangelo was tracking Draisaitl from quite a ways, comes up with 2 hands and comes down with a 2-handed forcible chop on his forearm. Now, thankfully, Draisaitl wasn't injured on the play. I'm sure there's at least bumps and bruises or something, but thankfully nothing, broken or injured to the point that he'll need to miss time. But still, I'm sure it was quite, painful scenario. But at the same time, Pietrangelo clearly lost his cool. There is no doubt that was intent to injure. The ref was really a couple of feet away, had a plain view of it, called a major penalty, which was definitely the right thing to do. But on top of getting called for a major penalty in the game, NHL player safety is deemed necessary for supplemental discipline. And it said, obviously, the fact that he's had a 952-game career, has no priors, certainly what, to help him. I'm a little bit surprised, to be honest, that it wasn't more than one playoff game. If you think about it, that's clear intent to injure. If that's in the regular season, I would think that's going to be, 3 or 4 games. In the case of Darnell Nurse, he gets 1 game, which is an automatic suspension based on the instigator rule. And the rule book states that if an instigator penalty is given out in the final 5 minutes of play, that's an automatic 1-game suspension. Now, of course, that rule is in place in games like this when, the score might be out of hand, things are getting out of control, and it kind of there to protect players who don't really want to fight. In this case, though, it wasn't really like that. I mean, if you watch the play, is Darnell Nurse the aggressor? Did he kind of start the fight? Sure. I understand how they deemed him to be the instigator, but even the Vegas Golden Knights players of their own captain, Mark Stone, said that Nicholas Hague, who he was fighting with, had challenged him to a fight before the play. So it's not like he wasn't a willing combatant. So I'm a little surprised they applied the instigator rule here. Based on the rule book, they absolutely got it right. Darnell Nurse gets a 1-game suspension, and the head coach, Dave Woodcock, with that also gets a $10,000 fine. I'm just not sure that I totally agree with the fact that it should have been a case where the instigator rule was used. But in this case, both these defensemen play big minutes for their teams. They both have big roles. So I guess the league's looking at it like that's evened up. So they'll both miss Game 5, can return for Game 6. We'll see how this affects both teams. To be honest, I wonder if it might affect Vegas even more than Edmonton, because there's honestly been times when Nurse hasn't played all that well, where Pietrangelo, to me, is a more important defender for Vegas. This is going to put even more pressure on Shea Theodore for Vegas with Pietrangelo's absence. And Theodore, to me, hasn't been the greatest in these playoffs. He's been a little bit of a turnover machine. He's made a lot of mistakes. Terrific defenseman. I really like Theodore's game in regular season. He's been absolutely awesome. He's usually in the top 7, 8 to 10 players when it comes to the Norris Trophy voting. And he's a really, really good player. Vegas was very fortunate to get him when they were going through expansion and getting their roster together for the first season. He's been a key cog there ever since, but he's been struggling. So to me, if Theodore continues to play that way without Pietrangelo being there, to me, I think Vegas is going to be impacted more, but it's still a big loss for both. Obviously, both teams are going to have some defensemen pick up some extra minutes to get an extra defenseman in the lineup likely to replace them. So let me know your thoughts on the Nurse and Pietrangelo suspensions. Did the NHL get this right? Give me your thoughts in the comments. We'll discuss it further. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with the latest news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.